Hello, besties. Welcome back to Here's the Thing podcast.
Honestly, shocked you made it back for round two. Like, they're back for more.
They're back for more screaming, crying, throwing up. You guys, we
Nothing
are
could be more shocking.
We're officially podcasters, and we have more than one episode.
Yes.
And we are shocked that you're back here. We're so excited for today's episode.
Mm-hmm. We actually are sitting together today.
Yeah.
We're figuring out our setup. And we love to say we're taking you along for the journey, but really we are.
Yes.
And today we're trying out sitting next to each other because last time it was a whole headphone fiasco. Heather was wearing Pikachu headphones.
I did find my AirPods, by the way. So I'm happy to report I found my AirPods, but we are not here for like the lag that was happening last time. So we're just going to apologize now. And we're going to try this out. So we'll see. We're still figuring it out. We, like Hilly said, we are very, very much like journey kind of people. Like we like to take people along, and we are also just huge proponents for like, we're not trying to have it perfect. We're not trying to act like we have it all together. We
even like Heather was saying, okay, well, we need to get ready because, we're going to have our video on. And I was like, Heather, it feels so unsustainable for me to feel like I have to get fully ready to record a podcast. So we are showing up just imperfect. And that's how we're going to go.
Yes.
So,
love it.
What are we chatting about today, Heather?
So today we're really excited because we're going to be sharing about our stories of just like how we met our husbands. And it's honestly, they're both really great stories. And obviously,
it's really a very asked question. Like,
yeah, all the time.
I think because Kyle and I have been together for so long, it's always like, okay, so you guys are high school sweethearts. Like, how did that all play out? And so I'm excited to share a little bit. And there's such different stories, which I love because I met my husband when we were 14 and Heather met her husband in a bar. So stay tuned if you want to hear all the nitty-gritty details of everything.
Right. And obviously marriage is like such a big part of people's lives. And we felt like we couldn't even really set the stage of our next episodes until you hear these epic stories.
Yeah. So, and then also like I said on our first episode, marriage is something that is like literally something I'm most passionate about in the entire world. And so like, I honestly want to dive into like creating courses and doing things for couples either before they get married or helping people while they're married. Kyle and I have had so many ups and downs. We've, been through it. We've been through lots of different life seasons. We've had a season where we were like really in depth in couples therapy and just, working hard on a relationship. But I will say the biggest thing is that we are so for marriage, and not just like having a marriage that lasts, but one that is just absolutely thriving and just abundant and something that like actually makes you like feel better and like you can grow together and go through all the ups and downs. But so I'm excited to talk about me and Kyle's beginnings.
Yes.
So we'll take it back, you guys.
All the way back.
Freshman
year of high school.
Actually, it starts before there because in middle school.
Oh, yes.
Kyle met me, or we met, and unfortunately, I don't remember meeting him. So just going to say that because he might come on here and like call my bluff by saying we met freshman year and be like, excuse me, we met in middle school and I don't remember meeting him, which is like so sad to me because he says that he had a crush on me and I didn't even remember meeting him. So really sad. Sorry, babe. But freshman year of high school, we started going to the same school. And at our high school, it's like a couple different middle schools kind of feed into the one high school. And Kyle went to private school. He went to a private Christian school all the way up through 8th grade. And so when we all got to high school, he was kind of like the new kid. Like no one really knew who he was, but he was really good on the football team. And he was friends with all of our guy friends that were also on the football team. And so everyone was kind of like, wait, who is this Kyle Duggan guy? And
we had, so a bunch of girls, we had started to hang out with like these new football players that like we didn't go to middle school with. So we were like, oh my gosh, who are these guys? Like they're so hot. They're so cool. And we had started hanging out with some of them. And then, but I still hadn't met Kyle yet. And then, by the way, this is Heather talking now. It's probably going to be so confusing. But so when we were probably like 2 weeks into freshman year of high school, right?
Yeah.
Hilly was a gymnast. So she had actually gone, I guess you explained.
Story for another day, but Heather and I were both gymnasts. And then when we were in 7th grade, Heather broke her neck doing gymnastics. Again, story for another day. But so I continued to pursue gymnastics, and I was actually traveling to Europe to go to the World Championships for gymnastics. I was on the USA team, and honestly, it like seemed super cool. But at the time, I was like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. But I was in Europe competing at the World Championships, and I was gone. It was like before cell phones really could like long distance call. I don't know. And so
we maybe talked twice while you were gone for like, I don't even know how long you were gone.
Which
maybe
was
like
pretty
a
much
couple
like
weeks.
the longest we've ever not been talking or together
Oh,
in
it
our
was
entire
awful.
life.
Like
so
I was unwell. I was literally just like going to school every day, like in depression. Like I can't function without her. Like I just could not function. But and we had all of these like fun stories to tell her because we had started to hang out with all of these guys on the football team, and we really wanted to introduce Hilly to all of these new friends that we had.
I remember talking to Heather on the phone, and she's like, "Okay, wait, Hilly, do you know Kyle Duggan?" And I was like, I know. It was funny because I knew the last name because his sister had just graduated and was like a legend on our dance team. And so I was like, well, I know Sheree Duggan. And so anyways, she was like, okay, he's so hot. He came from Maranatha. Like he's on the football team. We're all obsessed with him. We're all hoping that he asks us to homecoming. Like we don't know.
We're all fighting over who he's going to ask to homecoming.
So I was like, okay, like excited to meet him. But literally all the girls had a crush on him. So
every single one of us, like there was not one of us that didn't have a crush on him.
So, which is really funny to think about now.
I know. Now I'm like, he's my brother, but
so I came home from gymnastics. I actually came straight from the airport to school because I couldn't miss another day. It was like I missed so much. I missed so much dance team practice. I missed so much school. So I came straight there. We flew all night, and then I got to school. I was literally still wearing my USA Gymnastics warm-up suit. And that was my first time meeting Kyle. So we were in the quad. Heather was like, Hilly, come here, like pulled me over, was like, I want to introduce you to Kyle. And I was like, okay. So anyways, fast forward a little bit. I thought Kyle was super hot, really liked him. But like we said, there was a lot of other girls that liked him. We ended up asking someone else to homecoming. That was our only dance of all of high school that we did not go to together. And I still hold it over his head a little bit. I'm like, thanks, babe. Why didn't you ask me? But anyways, a couple months after homecoming, we would all meet up and like hang out as a big group of friends, like a bunch of guys. Yes. Shout out to the Carmel Mountain Ranch Plaza, the plaza. We would all hang out and go to dinner or movies or walk around and like scrounge up money to get Taco Bell, whatever we were doing. But we would literally just get dropped off by our parents and
or walk there.
Yeah, literally. And so we were there. We were at the plaza. We were going to see a movie. We were going to see The Fog, which I will never forget. It was the dumbest movie ever.
So dumb. But it was like one of those scary movies where like whoever you're sitting by, you could kind of like cuddle up with. Yeah.
But so I walked into the theater and I don't know what came over me, but I literally walked right in. I went straight over to Kyle and I said, Kyle, will you sit with me? And so basically I made the first move. I came on him. And Kyle literally said, oh, fine. And if you know Kyle, that's like so typical. He's just like sarcastic. And anyway, so we sat next to each other. We didn't hold hands or anything. Nothing happened, but no joke. Sparks were flying. Like chemistry was there. I fully believe that's a real thing because I was sitting next to him and like, oh my gosh, I think I literally fell in love with him in that movie. So after the movie, all the girls were mad at me because they wanted to sit next to Kyle and I was the one that was super forward and asked him to sit next to me. And so
was that the night that we went back to Sarah Kula's house? Okay. So we went back to Sarah Kula's house, who, by the way, Sarah Kula is the one who
mixed up our music for our podcast intro. She's a super talented, her and Natalie Kula Ray are super talented with music and singing, and they're amazing. But they mixed up our intro music. But yeah, we went back to Sarah's house. We literally talked on the phone, like a big group of girls were all at Sarah's, and then a group of guys were all together, talked on the phone, and everyone's like, so Hillary, do you like Kyle? And I was like, no, but like obviously was dying. And then honestly, from there, we just, every time we would all hang out, like me and Kyle would kind of like pair off a little bit and we were kind of an item, but still drama within the friends of like everyone loved Kyle. Eventually I just stopped caring and I was like, you know what? I like him. And so we are going to be a thing. And then after like a couple weeks of, really talking and hanging out, then Kyle asked well, I guess so. Technically, Kyle was trying to ask me out. He was trying to be like, will you go out with me? Become official. But again,
as 14 and 15-year-olds do.
Yeah. But again, I was the forward one. And in the conversation, I was like, so you want to be my boyfriend? But he was trying to. Anyways. Kyle will say that he never had a girlfriend before. And so he was not experienced. And I was so experienced with my middle school boyfriends that I had quote unquote dated before. But anyways, so he was a little nervous. He was a little shy. And I guess ultimately asked him out. But we started dating November 18th, 2005. And then, so that was freshman year of high school. I turned 15 a week or 2 weeks later. Actually had our first kiss on our birthday. And again, I made the first move.
Jesus, Hillary.
What is my problem? Actually saying this out loud makes me realize like, oh, wow.
It's so
Dear
funny.
Lord, who was I? But
so cute.
I mean, honestly, guys, lesson number 1 in having a, happy, healthy marriage, just ask for what you want. Okay.
Yeah.
Just go for it. In marriage, a lot of it's communication. A lot of it is just being forward with what you want. So there we go. Lesson number 1 from me. So then we were dating all of freshman year. We never broke up, not even like a break. Like literally we were just together all of high school, honestly, madly in love. And towards the end of high school, trying to figure out what we were doing next.
But also really quick too, like Kyle was so cute during high school. Like he was so, because it's being with a twin. Let's just say being with a twin, dating a twin,
it's weird.
Being married to a twin, it's freaking weird because
twins are weird, as Ross Geller says.
Yes,
twins are weird.
And it's couldn't be more true. And our husbands, like we'll talk about that later, but our husbands are like, it's freaking so weird. Like it's insane. But Kyle was always so sweet. And he would literally bring like both of us flowers for our birthday and would bring both of us flowers for like Valentine's Day. Cause I was like the sad single one.
Honestly, it is so funny to think like Kyle right now, like he is, I mean, everybody knows it. He's like super dad. He's the most amazing husband in the entire world. Like we hosted our a birthday party for my son over the weekend. He turned 7. And we had this whole conversation that was freaking hilarious with a bunch of the girls just being like, okay, Kyle, we need to figure out how to clone you because we need a guy like you. And like, how have we not figured out how to clone Kyle Duggan yet? I don't even know. One of the girls was saying that it's my next business plan that I should just figure out how to clone my husband. I'm like, honestly, you guys are right. Like he's so amazing. And he's like such an incredible dad and such an amazing husband, but
just like a solid human being.
But he's literally been like this since high school. Like he's grown and evolved and gotten even better.
Yeah.
And we've both, I mean, everybody grows since high school, hopefully, but yeah, he was always like such a gentleman. Obviously was raised very well. His parents are amazing. His family's amazing. But anyways, so yeah, like it is a weird thing dating a twin because like Kyle is 100% like acts like Heather's older brother. Like he messes with her. He like, just makes fun of her and is like, just like teases her and stuff like that. And then James does the same thing to me. Like he 100% is like my brother. And he always jokes like, I'm the sister he never wanted and he never asked for. But he's stuck with me forever because also marrying a twin, it's kind of a package deal.
Yes.
Our husbands have to put up with a lot. There was like a couple of weeks recently where you were just like jet setting around town, like going to Stagecoach and
in New York.
You were in New York and you were in
Temecula.
And
I was just all over the place.
Paso Robles. Like you were literally gone.
For a month. I'm pretty sure I was gone every weekend.
And I straight up was just so out of sorts. Like what the F? And I got home, or Heather got home and she was coming over and Kyle literally was like, I am so glad you're home. Like you were gone way too long. Hillary like needs you so bad.
Yeah.
Just for, I don't know, emotional support. And
it's just like this weird recharge thing that we do to each other where if we don't see each other for too long and we usually talk, I mean, we talk pretty much all day, every day, but if it's not like a deep, good, like solid quality time, then we're not well.
So thank God we're doing this podcast together because it gives us an excuse to be together.
We're like, sorry, we have to do the podcast. We got to get together.
Business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're building our own brand.
Yes.
This is business.
Yes.
We're quote unquote working right now. Okay, guys.
And luckily
we
our
have
husbands
to prioritize this.
Like understand, and they would never neither of them would ever try to like take time away from the twins. Like they just know.
Although I will say we've been hosting a lot at our house because we hosted a birthday party and then we hosted Mother's Day yesterday, had like the whole family over, and we literally woke up today like cleaning the house for hours, and Kyle's like, we are not hosting anymore. Like we are done having people over. And he's like, including your sisters. He's like, they're the messiest ones. He's like, you cannot it, like literally. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, so Heather's coming over to record the podcast. So disclaimer, Heather, we need to clean this place up.
Okay.
Spick and span
Spick and
before
span,
you
or else
leave.
I'm not allowed back.
Or else
Okay.
you're out.
Got it.
So
Gosh,
anyways,
it's terrifying. Okay, fine, I'll clean.
but yeah, so it's pretty funny being married to a twin. I would assume yeah, we put them through a lot.
They
It's
always
wild.
say too, they're like, it's so weird because you're like, you're
Clearly attracted
to, and you're married to one of them, and then there's someone who looks exactly like them, and you're just like very confused.
You almost have to like, they almost go over the top to make sure that everyone in the whole entire world, including us, knows that they are not attracted to the other one.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a weird thing. It's like, obviously, I think that this human is like the most beautiful person. I married her. I'm in love with her, but not you. But you look exactly the same. Like, ew, gross. They're so weirded out.
Yeah.
Okay. So after me and Kyle had been together for actually about 5 years, we were only 19 still at the time. But that was when Kyle actually decided to propose. And right before I started to actually have the feeling of like, I've always known I wanted to marry Kyle. Like I remember when I was literally 15, sitting in my kitchen one night and talking to my sister and my mom and saying like, I'm going to marry Kyle. And my older sister being like, you're love struck right now. And I'm like, no, like literally I want to marry him. And I'm so happy that that came true, but I just knew it. And honestly, I have a pretty powerful mind with like deciding that something's going to happen and then it happens.
She's very
So I would like
intuitive.
to think that I manifested this, or I guess prayed it into existence. Nothing happens without God being on my side, but so
God's
happy.
really on her side. Let me tell you, like she is his strongest soldier. And let's just say this woman is very powerful.
Can make things happen.
Yeah.
But anyways, so on our 5-year anniversary, Kyle proposed. 7 months later, we got married. We were just turned 20 and literally couldn't even have alcohol at our wedding. But we actually like didn't even drink at that point at all. So it was like we literally had soda cans and that was our beverages at our wedding.
There was a
cooler of soda cans.
There were some people who brought in like coolers of alcohol and they were in like the trunks of their car.
We didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
But, and then, so we've been married now for almost 13 years. 13 is Taylor Swift's favorite number. We're also launching this podcast on May 13th. You're welcome. All of the Swifties already get it. But yeah, this is our 13th year in June. And so I'm super excited about that and really proud of that. Honestly, it's like one of my most proud accomplishments is just the marriage that we've built. And honestly, right now, you guys, like we are going through a really, really intense time. Just like personally, and both Heather and I are on the career change path right now. We're gonna be spilling more of the tea soon.
We're going through some shit. Okay?
Literally, we're like in some ways hanging on by a thread. In some ways, I've never been happier. In some ways, have never been more thriving and felt more free and excited to like explore what's next for us. But it's a really intense transition, and especially like on a marriage, when you're dealing with anything with jobs and finances and money and communication and emotions and all the things. But I have to say, like, I have never felt more connected to Kyle. Our marriage has never felt stronger. I have never felt more just like united with my husband and excited for this next chapter. And like, it's just, I literally were so obsessed with each other. Like we hosted Paxie's birthday party on Friday and there was like literally 60 people at our house and it was so much fun. But like at the end of the night, we were like, I miss you. Like we've been both like pulled in different directions at the party. And then in the morning, like literally couldn't stop like snuggling and just like, oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed with you. I missed you so much. Like I felt like we were together yesterday, but I like didn't see you. And it's just like, holy crap. I feel so blessed that after 13 years of marriage that we're still in that place. And so I'm excited to share more about marriage and more about, I don't know, things that work and things that don't work, and hopefully share some wisdom on marriage because I'm so proud of what we built. So, okay,
and also in the process, you've had 4 babies.
Just side note, have also, birthed and created and birthed 4 babies. Moved around to multiple houses. Lots of just ups and downs with all of that. Literally had 4 natural births, 2 of them home births in our previous home. And then we just moved to our next like forever home now, and just kind of moving on to the next chapter together. So Heather's story is not the like high school sweetheart story, but it's honestly like even better. So tell us how you met James. So another little side note too, like me and Kyle have been dating forever. And so like starting as a 15-year-old, I was kind of like a grandma. Like me and Kyle didn't really want to like, obviously we had other friends and we both did sports, and he was on the football team. I was on the dance team. Like he was, I was dance captain senior year. He was like second team all state in football. Like we were busy with sports and stuff like that. We both like worked jobs, but we were pretty much together all the time, acted like a married couple since we were 15. And so we didn't really go out to parties. We didn't really hang out with people that much. I was like, I would much rather just go to his house and chill and hang out with his family and go in the pool and go in the jacuzzi. Oh God. Anyways, funny time. So Heather was like, we were twins, but like, honestly, Heather kept me connected to our friend group, because I feel like most people, if you're in a relationship in high school that's serious and you're like, you kind of like just like hermit off and you're just with each other, a lot of times you lose a lot of friends, and people are like, oh, you're always just with your boyfriend. And which people probably felt like that. But because I had Heather as like my tether, she like, I don't know, allowed me to kind of hang on to my friend group, because she was super social and always with our friends. So it was almost like when I wanted to show up and when I could, I'd like pop into the friend group and they'd be like, oh, Hilly's here.
Yeah.
But it wasn't ever like, oh my gosh, you're so annoying, you're always with your boyfriend, which was kind of nice.
Because they had me as a stand-in, so it was fine.
So then we kind of led very different lives in high school, like, and even into college and stuff. Like I was with Kyle, and so we just didn't have the same experiences, even though we were identical twins and, lived in the same house and had a lot of the same life experiences. I feel like our dating like paths kind of have been what has shaped us a lot, because it was just such different stories. So
So I, did the normal thing like in high school and, college, where I was just dating, I dated a few guys, and it was always like, I feel like I always knew that like I wanted to find someone who it was just going to be this like amazing love story. And I knew that was like out there for me, but then I would almost try to like fit other people into that narrative. And then Hilly and Kyle, anytime that they would meet someone that I was dating, or if I was just like obsessed with someone, they were like, no
one was good enough for Heather. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
We knew like the type of person that was worthy of being with Heather, and we felt so like highly of her, but she didn't always see that in herself. And so, we just wanted like your perfect person, and we knew very much so that a lot of people were not that. And so it was hard for us to like watch you be in relationships and stuff when we're like, we know that's not the right one, but you're like, you guys are so annoying, you don't get it. You have always had each other. And we're like, okay, but don't you want to be taking advice from someone in like a successful relationship? She's like, no, I don't want to hear it from you two specifically. We're like, well, but you should.
I'm like, well, this is never going to happen for me. So you guys just need to shut up. But
it was like, you need to let me settle for someone less. And we're like, no, we will not. It was always
like, let me live. Oh my gosh. Like you guys. But so when I was 22, which is so crazy because I was so young, but when I was 22 and my friends and I were definitely like having honestly some of the best years of our lives. Like we were having so much fun. We were going out, we were, experiencing just like the San Diego kind of scene of like different places like beach towns and downtown and just like our local, places. And we were just having so much fun. And I was newly single at that time. And basically I showed up at a bar. So one of my best friends in the entire world, Carly, she had invited me out, and she saw that a bunch of us girls were out in PB. It was like me and some of my best friends like Lauren and Megan and Shara and Jen and stuff. And we were all out. And then Carly saw we were out, and she was like, hey, Heath, like you guys are all out in PB, come to Shore Club. Like we're all here. We're here for my friend's birthday. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like, So, and I had known Carly just from high school and from work and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, girls, do you want to go meet up with Carly? And everyone's like, sure, let's go see Carly. So we show up at this bar at PB Shore Club. And if you know, you know, but I walked in, and basically the first second that I walked in, James was across the bar and he saw me from across the bar. I literally walked in. 2 seconds later, he was pointing at me and we like locked eyes. And I was like, wait a second, is he what's happening? So then he points at me. He starts making his way over towards me. It was like a super, super crowded bar, super
Literally
crowded.
pointed you out of a crowd and was like, that one. I want that one.
And he literally was walking towards me, and I look at my cousin and I'm like, is he pointing at us? And she goes, he's pointing at you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, wait a second. Do I know this guy? Am I supposed to know him? Like,
you're like turning around, like,
yeah,
is someone behind me?
Yeah, because I had no idea. And I was like, wait, I think I'm supposed to know this guy because he's walking over here as if I know him. But he turns out he just walks up to me. He like puts his hand out for me to like shake his hand. And he's like, hi, I'm James. And I was like, oh, hi, I'm Heather. Cause I'm like, oh, I guess I don't know him. So then I'm like, hi, I'm Heather. And he's like, can I buy you a drink? And I was like, no, I'm okay. And
like if you know PB Shore Club, you know,
yeah, be a little cautious of like people who are coming up to you. So I was like, no, I'm good. Thanks though. And like started to walk away, and like the look of shock on his face, like he was just like, wait, what? Like, did you really just say no to me? So anyway, I walk away. I'm like, that was so crazy. Like that was so forward. Oh my gosh. Like, so we walk
like me.
Yeah.
Me and James have
almost as forward as Hilly.
More in common than we thought, James. J Melt.
I'm done. So then a few minutes goes by. I find Carly at the bar. So we're chit-chatting and like, oh my gosh, hi, whatever. And as I'm talking to Carly, James walks back over to us and he kind of like puts his like elbow on Carly's shoulder. If you can kind of picture, like if you're watching the YouTube, like, and he's super tall. So like she just like she looked up at him and then she was like, oh, hey babe, what's up? And just kind of turned away. And so I was like, my immediate thought was like, oh, okay, wait. So he's not like a random stranger. Like he's a friend of Carly's, which I trust Carly with my life. So I was like, okay, I obviously like if he's friends with Carly, then like I think I can trust him. But anyway, and he's staring at me. And as soon as I was done like telling my story or whatever I was doing to Carly, he was like, Heather, can I please buy you a drink? And he was probably so happy when I went up to Carly because he's probably like, yes, she knows Carly, like was probably so happy. But so he was like, Heather, can I please buy you a drink? And I remember thinking like, wow, like he remembered my name after like a few minutes. And like, we were all like drinking and stuff. So I was like, I'm like, the bar is so low that like from previous like things, I'm like, oh my God, he remembered my name. Like I want to marry this guy. But anyway, so he was like, Heather, can I please buy you a drink? And I was like, okay, sure. So I like, as I'm about to walk away, I really quickly like to Carly, I'm like, is he cool? And she was like, he's the best. And so I was like, okay, perfect. So we like go up to the bar, we start like talking, we order drinks.
Meanwhile, poor James, he had just bought himself a condo in North Park.
Yes.
And was like, I think, was he newly single too?
Yeah, not newly single,
but yeah. he like had just decided he was going to start this like bachelor life, and he like had just bought himself this adorable condo in like the best part of North Park in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I'm going to like have a bachelor pad and I'm going to like have this place all to myself. And then like right after that, he meets Heather. And if you know Heather, you know that she is just going to waltz into your house and act like she owns the place and make it her own. So that's what happened shortly after this story. But spoiler alert.
Yeah.
That's where it ended up.
Exactly. And
ruining the bachelor
pad. He still talks about it to this day. He's like, I could have had a bachelor pad. And like, he's still pissed, I think. So it's been 11 years and he's still mad at me. But anyway, so we start talking at the bar. We like get a couple drinks. He's like, oh, it's my birthday. And I'm like, oh, it's your birthday. Okay. Like, happy birthday. So I'm like, oh shoot. Like I'm literally here for your birthday because that's why I got invited here. But then I was like, okay, well, let me buy you a drink then. And he's like, okay. So we end up like standing there talking for like a while. And then my girls came up to me and they're like, okay, Heather, we're leaving. Let's go. Like trying to pull me away. They're like, we're going to go to another place. And I was like, because we wanted to end up at this country bar. Shout out to Reds, RIP. RIP to Reds. But yeah, so we like, they were like, Heather, we're leaving. Let's go. And I was like, oh my God, wait, I don't want to leave because I really loved talking to James and he was so hot. And I was like, wait, I don't want to leave. So I tell them, I'm like, we're not leaving. I don't want to leave. And they're like, Heather, we're leaving. Like, just get over it. Like, get his number from Carly or something. And I'm like, no, I don't want to leave. So we're leaving. And James is like, wait, what? Like, wait, no, we're all going downtown. Like, you should just come with us. And I was like, oh no, right there. That's the end. I'm like, I am definitely not going downtown. So I guess I'll see you later. So we leave, we go to Reds. I tell the girls, I'm like, are you effing kidding me, girls? Like, I'm so pissed at you. I really wanted to hang out with that guy. And they were like, Heather, like, we don't even want to hear it. Just like stop. Cause I had pretty much just told them like, I am excited to be single and like, I'm not going to be dating anyone for a long time and all that stuff. So we end up going to Reds. We're hanging out there for a while. Lo and behold, I look up at one point, I see Carly walking into the bar and I'm like, oh my God, Carly's here. And then I see James like short, like right behind her. And he's like searching the bar, literally looking all around. And I'm like, oh my God, is he looking for me? Is he looking for me? So then he finds me. He like points at me again. He comes over. He's like, I was looking for you. We're not going to go downtown. We're just going to stay here. Like, I wanted to see you again. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So we ended up like dancing to country music all night long. It was the best night. Like at 2 a.m, we were like, okay, I guess it's time to go home. He was like, come over. We're all going to the guy's house. And I was like, no, I'm just going to go home. I should be good. So I like go home. I remember, I will never forget this. I went home and our little sister, Becca, her and I lived there with my mom at the time. And I walked into the house and Becca, my mom was gone at that point. She was like, I don't remember where she was, but she was gone. And then so she was gone. Becca had a bunch of friends over. She was like having like a little like kickback at my house, a little kickback. And I think she was like 18. I think she was still in high school. Wow. And so I show up and I'm like walking in the door. I'm like screaming and like, so all her friends, I think at first were like, oh no, like older sister's here. We're busted. Like we're all in trouble. But I was like, Becca. And she's like, what? And I'm like, so I like take her back into like our bedroom. My phone was dead, by the way, but he got my number before I left. And so I take her. Of course my phone was dead. Like, would this be? Nothing has changed. It's been 11 years and nothing has changed. But so we like go to like one of our rooms. I think we went to my room and I was like, I think I just met my husband. And she's like, what? Oh my God. And all her friends are freaking out thinking that like the party got rolled. And I'm like, no, you guys carry on. Okay. Like party on, Wayne. I don't care. I just need Becca. So we go in there and I'm like, Becca, I just met my husband. And she's like, what? Oh my gosh. Tell me everything. So I'm like waiting for my phone to turn on, waiting to see if James texted me. I'm telling Becca all about this whole night. She's freaking out and get my phone on. He ends up like texting me and he's like, hey, I want to see you again. And I was like, oh, like freaking out. I'm like, so I'm losing my mind. Becca and I are like literally could not sleep that night because we were so excited and we kept like responding. We were like, texting back and forth a few times or whatever. And then I remember like Becca and I slept in her room that night. We always used to share a bed. Fun fact, Hilly and I shared a bed till she got married. Literally. We'd have 2 beds and then we'd push them together because we just and then ended up just sleep over king bed because we were like, this is stupid. So when Hilly moved out and got married and abandoned me, I was like, okay, I guess. So then me and my sister Becca would always like, we had 2 rooms, but we would just share a bed. Like we would just switch off which room we were sleeping in. But so I remember in the morning waking up and rolling over to like check my phone. And Becca was like, did he text you? She was still like half asleep. And I was like, he hasn't texted me yet. But then like an hour later he did. And like, honestly, the rest is history. Like we kind of just started talking all day, every day from then on. We like moved her way into the North Park apartment. Infiltrated his life. And we were like dating for a year. And then I moved in with him. And then a year after that, I was out in Europe and he met me out there and he proposed in Barcelona. And I just had chills. Yeah. I know the story. I was like part of the proposal. We all sent I was like a little bit devastated that he was going to propose where I couldn't be there. Yeah. Like, I mean, wouldn't put it past me to fly out to Barcelona to be there, but he had us all make videos like telling her congratulations. And then he put it all together and then showed her the video after he proposed. And it was like 30 seconds after he was like, I know you'd really want your sisters here, but like, this is the next best thing. And like showed me all the videos. It was like some of our closest friends and like our whole family and stuff. And it was so effing cute. So amazing. And then we had like kind of a long engagement. We got married 2 years later. And then now we've been married or I guess in like 2 weeks from now, we'll be married 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we have been basically trying to have a baby since we got married.
Yeah, kind of like not trying, but
yeah, like the first couple of years, it was like, oh, like let's definitely, pull the goalie and let's like see, whatever. But then after it was taking a couple years, like right after COVID, we were like, okay, let's like actually start to try. And then that led us into this whole rabbit hole of a fertility journey. And now we've done like a couple rounds of IVF. We're about to start our 3rd round and had a miscarriage, all the things. It's like, we'll definitely get more into that in a later episode, but we are definitely soon to be parents, like 100%. There's not
We've had
one.
some moments of like, why God, why? Yeah. I feel like Joey from Friends, where he's just like, why God? Because I'm like, God, just give him a baby. But then also I know that like every single thing happens for a reason. Like God's timing is never late.
Never.
It's always right on time. Like your baby's literally, God knows their birthday and is just waiting for the right time. And so,
because we know we're parents. Like we are already feel like we are, like we talk about it every single day. Like,
I mean, James has been J-Paw for 25 years now.
Yeah.
We used to call him J-Paw because he like was like a grandpa basically.
But yeah, so we definitely like know we're meant to be parents together, and it's just going to be amazing when it finally happens. And we're about to start our 3rd round of IVF, so perfect timing for the podcast because you guys will get to kind of see
along the journey,
as
we like to say.
Yes. But yeah, that's kind of our like stories. But the funny thing was too, when I first met James, Hilly had never met him. Hilly and Kyle never met him. I think I kind of mentioned this last episode too, but for some reason, like even just hearing the story, Hilly knew that he was the one.
I did. And I was like, Heath, don't F it up. Okay. Yeah. He's way cooler than us. He's a couple years older. He has his degree already. Like we were still at San Diego State in college. He like literally bought himself a condo. Like you can't get any more adult than that to 2 girls that are in college.
I was in college. I was living with my mom and I was working as a server at a restaurant. Yeah. So it's like, which nothing wrong with that at all. But it was just, I remember being like, oh my gosh, I live with my mom. And
he's like so much older and cooler and more established. And I was like, Heather, don't F this up. I'm going to kill you if you F this up. And I'd literally be like, Heather, be cool. Like, don't be stupid.
After every time we'd hang out, I'd call her.
Like, oh God, Heather, did you do something to F it up? She's like, I don't think so. I'm like, oh, thank God. Tell me everything.
And I would tell her everything. It was honestly hilarious. But
she'd come over and I would literally get her ready. I'd do her hair and her makeup. So I'm like, Heather, we gotta do this. We gotta be presentable.
Even if it was like, he would be like, oh, just come over and we'll go like pick up like food at Whole Foods and like we're gonna watch a movie. I was still like, Hilly, you need to do natural beach waves today. Okay. Like we need to do the no makeup look and like wear your Lulus and
yeah.
She would get me dressed. She would do my hair, do my makeup. And I'd show up like, oh, just casual. I just threw this on.
Heather, I'm going to ruin your life right now. And I'm going to let everyone in on a secret, our best kept secret. James,
oh God, I'm scared.
Literally always was obsessed with your Lulu. Like,
oh yeah.
And I've always been the twin that would like invest in like nicer clothes, and like Heather would just come over and steal all of my clothes. And I would pretty much spend all my extra money on buying clothes that I want. Like fashion is a big part of my life.
I'd be like, if it's not $6, it's not happening.
And so I let Heather wear my Lululemon leggings, which Lulus were like kind of like newer. Yeah. Like it was like very on the up and up. And so she wore my Lulu leggings, and James was obsessed with and kept being like, oh, are those Lululemon? Like, oh, I really like those leggings. And she had to like be cool. So she had to pretend like they were hers. Yeah. And then so she'd be like, hell, I need to borrow your leggings again because James thinks they're mine.
And he'd be like, just wear like your Lulus or something. Like, and like James is like very stylish and like very trendy and like dresses me half the time because I never know what to wear. And he's always like, babe, just wear like this and that. And like, he's very into like fashion and all the things. So I'd be like, what should I wear? And he'd be like, just wear your Lulus or something.
And she'd be like, Hilly, I need to come over and get your Lulus.
It's a little bit more complicated than you think, James. I have to drive all the way to Hilly's house and like hope that they're washed and all the things.
Weirdly enough, I don't think we've ever told James this secret.
I don't think we have either.
We just dropped a bomb.
Yeah.
The Lulus were mine,
our whole life is a lie, James. I'm sorry.
No, that's why he fell in love with you, apparently. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for the Lulus.
Okay.
All the Lulus. But
well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode of sharing how we met our husbands. Because like we said, marriage is such a big part of our life and a big part of our stories and kind of like shaped us into who we are in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, Thanks for
And we
being
had
here.
mentioned last time, so we're going to be doing like Q&A. I think we've decided we're going to do like little, like kind of mini episodes
separate segments
of like Ask Hilly and Heath. And so we wanted to just let you know that you can drop questions. You can either just DM us on Instagram or on our
For right now, honestly, that's the only way.
Yes, that's the only way.
We might get fancier and have a different way to submit
Yes.
questions, but Ask Hilly and Heath is going to be officially starting on our next episode.
Mhm.
And so definitely ask us any questions about marriage, because we just shared this whole, episode on our marriages, but ask us any questions and you'll get some segments of Ask Hilly and Heath really soon.
Yay.
All right, guys.
Well, thanks for tuning in.
XOXO. How are we actually ending this though?
I don't know.
Did we say XOXO at the
Hilly
end?
and Heath?
Is it too gossip girly?
I like it.
I love it. Okay, ready?
Okay.
XOXO.
Hilly and Heath.